All right, let's take a look at now some of the things that we've been dealing with triangles. And basically the first concept, the sum of the angles of a triangle add up to 180, is something that you guys learned in middle school or generally maybe came up in Algebra 1. And that basically just says if I look at these angles in a triangle, angle 1 plus angle 2 plus angle 3 has to equal 180. So we can use that in a lot of problems, like given two angles, find the third angle. And you're going to see when I put up a couple of examples that were in the homework, how we can manipulate our way around a figure. And when we got overlapping triangles, things get a little more crazy. But one of the things we talked about too was an exterior angle. It was called the exterior angle theorem. And it basically says an exterior angle of a triangle is equal to the sum of its two remote interior angles. Like I could come up with an equation for angle 4, angle 5, and angle 6 based upon that. So I could say angle 4 equals, now again, an exterior angle. The sum of its two remote interior angles is basically saying angle 4 is equal to the two interior angles that it's not adjacent to added together. So angle 4 equals angle 2 plus angle 3. I can come around and say the same thing about angle 5. Angle 5 is an exterior angle. It's equal to angle 1 plus angle 2. And I can say the same thing about angle 6. Angle 6 is equal to angle 1 plus angle 3. Now as I look at this problem, let's erase some things and just start filling in some numbers. Suppose they gave me two angles right here. Suppose this was 60 degrees, and let's suppose this was 50 degrees. Now we could work our way around this figure and say, well, these two have to add up to 180. So I know if that's 50, this is going to be 130. I know these two have to add up to 180. So if this is 60, angle 6 is going to be 120. But if I said, suppose it was the same problem, I gave you 50 and 60, and we were solving for angle 5, or if angle 5 was x, solve for x, something of that nature. You don't want to have to do this the long way and say, well, if that's 50 and that's 60, I can figure out angle 3 based on the fact that the three angles add up to 180. So let's say, all right, let's solve that then. 50 degrees plus 60 degrees plus angle 3 equals 180. 50 and 60 gives me 110 degrees. Plus angle 3 equals 180. Solving for angle 3, how do we get rid of the 110? Well, we're doing the opposite operation. So if I'm adding 110 to this, we're going to subtract 110 from both sides. And we left with angle 3 equals 70 degrees. Now I could say, all right, angle 3 and 5, that's a linear pair. They have to add up to 180. So if angle 3 is 70, angle 5 is obviously going to be 110. But I could have gotten it straight off the bat to say, hey, angle 5 is equal to 50 plus 60, which gives me 110 degrees. Angle 4 is going to equal 60 plus 70, which gives me 130 degrees. Angle 6 is going to equal 50 plus 70, which gives me 120 degrees. So that's the basic concept of the sum of the angles of a triangle and the exterior angle theorem. Let me erase this and put up a few examples that we can take a look at. These, I'm just picking some that were from the homework. So I think I'm going to pick a couple of the ones that I think some people are going to have to struggle with. And we've got this going on. This drops down here. This over here. 65 degrees, perpendicular, 25 degrees. Y is up here, and X is right there. So now when we look at this, and it seems to be gone, grab one. I think it's going to work. When we look at this, it's like, man, where do I even go to start with this problem? We've got so much going on here. Perpendicular, 90 on both sides, right? Now when I look at y, it's like, all right, I got to find a triangle that either y is in or y is associated with. I can look at this triangle right here. Perpendicular, 65 degrees, and y. Now that's easy to figure out why, right? Why? What do these three angles have to add up to? Sum of the angles of a triangle add up to 180. More importantly, there's a theorem that talks about the acute angles of a right triangle. The acute angles of a right triangle have to add up to 90. So obviously if that's 90, 180 minus 90 would leave us with 90 for both of those. So I can set this up and say 90 equals 65 minus y, and now we're solving this for y. I'm sorry, 65 plus y. And now we're solving this for y. So I'm going to subtract 65 from both sides, and that's going to leave us with y is equal to 25 degrees. Now once I know what y is, we can find x similarly in the same fashion. Again, I can look at this little triangle right here, and we could figure out this angle, and they have to add up to 180. But more importantly, if I erase some of this stuff, and that's what you really got to do in this case, is to be able to look at this diagram the right way. But we have an exterior angle, which is, again, using that exterior angle theorem. We could say x is equal to 65 plus 25, which is going to give us 90 degrees. So that's some problems using the sum of the angles of a triangle and the exterior angle theorem.